This is a donabe, Japanese clay pot. We often use this for a hot pot purposes to gather around the table. It is a very staple, I guess, winter dish for the Japanese culture. Some can say this is like a konro in winter time. So this is made out of the clay. It holds the heat very nicely. Also, it warms up very slowly. So it really retains the heat very nicely. Different cultures has similar type of clay pot. China and Turkey, everywhere. But Japanese use this most exclusively for hot pot purposes. You can also cook rice. You can also cook anything you want. It is a great vessel to cook in ultimately. The best way to use donabe is to gather around the table with your friends, families, and make a really nice, hearty hot pot. Today, I'm gonna show you the most, I guess, popular or basic hot pot or nabe dish called mizutaki. So mizutaki is very basic hot pot dish. If you want to actually do a little bit of arrangement, you can definitely do that. There are a lot of other nabe recipes, like including kimchi. Also, you can purchase one of those pre-made, pre-packaged broth. There are thousands of different recipes or arrangement that you can do with the hot pot. Let's get into it. So here's kind of nabe 101 basics. What you want to do is make a broth. At this example for mizutaki, I'm gonna make broth out of kombu, the kelp. You get a really nice rich flavor and natural amino acid from this. I'm gonna use some chicken. It is great protein source as well as the great flavor source as well. For the protein, you can definitely use a seafood as well. There are a lot of different dish like a chige dish, which you use the cod. You can use some of the whitefish, you can use like shrimp, many different kind of proteins. Then I have various different type of the vegetables. Today I'm gonna use the napa cabbage or hakusai. We have the tofu. I have the Tokyo negi. It's very thick leek. I have the shiitake mushrooms as well as the shimeji mushrooms. These are a great vessel to carry the flavors. And the carbs, the Japanese people, often you could eat nabe or hot pot with a bowl of rice, or we call it the shime. Shime is to finish. So oftentimes after you finish all of these, we either put a bowl of rice dunked in a pot, cook a little bit, flavor it, then finish with the egg. It's called zosui. That's a very typical carb dish after the nabe. Also, you can put some ramen noodles or udon noodles. These are very popular carbs to finish the nabe with. First, what you want to do is to build the flavor of broth. We're going to use the kombu. This is actually big piece of kombu, so I'm going to just break it into the small piece and start soaking into the water. Well, donabe is basically a clay pot. Well, it is literally means clay pot in Japanese. Donabe is not really great at the drastic temperature change, especially when the donabe is hot. You do not want to put any cold water on top of it. Here, I have some kombu pieces here and just pour some water to get a flavor out. If you want, you can leave this in the water like overnight if you want to. We're gonna probably sit around for about 30 minutes, get it softened, then put that on the heat. Since it's a clay pot, you do not want to shock this piece of ceramic, right? So never pour super cold water when the donabe is hot, nor the vice versa. Don't put super hot stuff into cold donabe. So I'm gonna soak the kombu for about 30 minutes while I'm prep for all other ingredients. So today I'm gonna use this almost like brand new to us Hazaki Pro. Look at this beautiful blade, really nice and thin. Hazaki is a great brand. It is a great hybrid between the Japanese blade quality and also the Canadian-made handles. So the blade is imported to Canada, and there is a craftsman in Montreal who actually makes this beautiful handle. Shimeji mushrooms, it comes with this part that you don't want to eat, so I'm gonna just cut it off. Then you can just separate them by hand. Maybe like 2 or 3 at a time. Next up, I'm gonna do the shiitake mushrooms. What I'm gonna do is cut the stem off and make a little bit of decorative. It's not necessary, but you know, it's for fun. I'm gonna do that for all of them. You don't have to. Basically, what I'm doing is so after taking the stem off, I'm cutting in diagonal, like on the side, so that it cuts off a little piece like this. Napa cabbage. So I'm gonna just cut it in half first. Or I'm gonna take that off like. Then I'm gonna cut it about, say, inch wide. Separate the little core part that's like takes a little bit longer to cook, and the leaf part that cooks much faster. You can probably get this kind of the well, we call it green onions. It's like a leek. You can probably buy them at the local Asian grocery stores. This is great. It gets really nice and soft. We cut the top off. It is a little bit more hard. We use this green part often for a broth. Say if you're making a chicken broth and stuff, this will give you a little bit more flavor. So today I'm gonna just leave this on the side and just gonna use this white part. Root off. And very traditional way of cutting this type of leek is the cutting very diagonally. Cut in diagonal like this. And since I have the rest of the leek, I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut in very small pieces for a dipping sauce. You could do several different ways. This is the way I like to do. I'm going to cut it this way, but not all the way. Turn, do the same. Then, so I'm going to use this for a dipping sauce later on. Tofu, I'm gonna just cut into probably about 1/2 inch thick. I got this a traditional tofu. You could use a soft tofu. Don't get a farm tofu. They're not really good. You can cut it like this way for sure. For some reason in Japan, we like to cut the tofu on the hand. I think the reason is though the Japanese tofu is slightly softer. So when you put it on the cutting board and try to pick it up, it's really easy to break them. So last but not least, I have daikon. I don't know if I mentioned the daikon earlier, but I like to have the daikon in the broth as well as for a dipping sauce. So I'm going to grate this daikon for a dipping sauce using the Japanese grating tool. Rest I'm going to use it for I guess to eat with. I'm gonna put this in the pot and just cook with it. Often though, daikon has really thick-ish skin. You could peel very thin, but if you look the anatomy of daikon, there is actually peel or the rind, this about 5mm thick part. Often Japanese people will peel to that point. I probably don't for this guy, which I would grate them because it doesn't matter. I may do that for this guy because the fiber will stay in your mouth. Then I'm going to cut this, we call it the icho kiri, or the ginkgo leaf. Cut into the quarter. Then for this purpose, I'm probably gonna cut about 5mm thick. I'm gonna use this piece of daikon and grate it on this Japanese ceramic grater. You can definitely use a grater like a tsuboe, like metal grater. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. You just like keep rotating. And this ceramic grater is actually really fast. I'm pretty impressed. Yeah, I just flip onto the side so that I can have a better grip. You can probably drain it a little bit or squeeze a little bit of water out at the end. I'm gonna cut up the chicken a little bit, so I will bring a different cutting board, Hasegawa Black, as well. I have this non-slip mat, so that when you place them, it doesn't move around. So I'm gonna separate the drum and thigh. I'm gonna debone the thigh and cut them to the pieces, but I'm gonna keep the drum as is so that it gets the flavor from the bone as well. If you wanna learn more about chicken butchery, check out this video. I have this set up. I have donabe, water and kelp or kombu inside of water. this Iwatani cassette conro. It's a portable stove thing. It really comes handy, especially when you are gathering around the table. This thing comes really handy. The Iwatani is great because they actually built this system that you can keep the heat, or you can control the heat very nice and precisely. You may want a can of butane here, insert them. What I'm going to do first is that I'm gonna nice and medium high so that you get a nice flavor out of kombu. At the same time, today I'm going to actually add 2 more ingredients. Chicken drums. It takes a little bit longer to cook. Because it's bone in, it gives you a lot more flavor. In Japan, it is commonly believed that the root vegetables, you want to cook it from cold water. So I'm going to actually add the daikon onto this broth as well. Put lid back on, and I'm gonna wait until the water boils.
5 minutes later.
Started to boil, so I'm gonna open the lid, and I'm going to actually rescue a kombu, because you don't want to overboil kombu. Flavor gets a little bit yucky. I'm gonna skim some of the thing as well. If you have a skimmer, that's great. Now I got really nice broth from chicken and kombu. The daikon is cooking away, so I'm going to add pretty much everything that I have here. Stir from the chicken. It takes a little bit while to cook. So add that on one side so we know where the chickens are. Leeks, I'm gonna add to this side. Starting from the stem piece of napa cabbage here, shiitake mushrooms. So you know what, I'm gonna actually move the chicken over so that they are the center piece. So you don't have to add all the ingredients all at once. It is pretty common to have like one made, then you can keep adding like more proteins or the more vegetables later on as well. So I'm actually going to stop right here. Lid again. Medium high. Keep it medium high and until it actually starts to boil again. Well, while it's boiling, I'm gonna make a dipping sauce. Usually for dipping, people do assemble themselves. They choose a little bit of grated daikon, a little bit of like green onions. They sometimes have a little bit of chili and stuff like that. Today, I'm gonna build one that I would like, a little bit more bigger bowl, and we can probably share it with some colleagues. So daikon, grated daikon, it has a little bit more excess liquid, so I'm gonna drain it a little bit. No, kikoman ponzu. And I'm just gonna mix it up, and I'm gonna use that as the dipping sauce. It's done. It's time to feed my coworkers.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey. What do you got going on here, Naoto? It's
well,
lunchtime.
I made the nice donut or the hot pot to share.
Well, heck yes, you did.
Awesome. Well, would you like to have some?
I would like to have some.
Alrighty.
I would indeed.
I'm gonna just serve a few things from here, and you can just eat them.
Okay.
We have some chicken thighs, tofu, shiitake mushroom, some leeks, some sauce. Then here, and you want to have a little bit of dipping sauce. Usually you have your own dish of dipping sauce and you dip in. Today we just sharing it, so I'm just gonna put that on top here.
Oh, great, thank you. He just stuck it right there in the middle.
Enjoy.
Moishi! Oh, it's really good. Thank you so much. I'm glad I waited for lunch.
Right. That's it. This mizunabe is the easiest for you to try. So I'll encourage you to try from this one. But there are a lot of different recipes available. You could even go get some of the broth and stuff like that as well. There are a lot of different recipes from different cultures. Go explore, go crazy, and have a great family or get-together meal with donabe. If you want to grab any of those cookwares that I used today, check out the link in description. And if you want to learn more about the donabes, there's a book called Donabe. It's got a lot of recipes, information that you can try on. So That's also in the link in description as well. Everyone, lunch is ready.
Yay!